So today is IEEE Site Day. We are celebrating for the first time in world and 28th April. These are some of the wishes from our volunteers across Bangalore section who are wishing all of you a happy IEEE Site Day. So what is SITE? SITE is Special Interest Group on Humanitarian Technology, where we have some of the volunteers, like all of us, go and help the underserved community, which means that they are deprived with some of the benefits which all of us are getting. For example, they don't have internet, they don't have electricity, they don't have basic amenities what everybody in this world deserves. So these are some of the statistics of globally, and in 2019 also it's keep on increasing, and 2020 I'm sure it will be even more. And we have been part of IEEE site from past many years, starting from 2012, and multiple events have been done, and many of the members, volunteers of our Bangalore section have reached the top position in HAC or IEEE site. So these were the few of the college which already existed, like Oxford College of Engineering, NIT Surathkal, and BEC Bagalkot were a few of them which was started way back. And after that, there was little silence. But again, we came up with bang with a lot of things from last year. So it's a free membership for IEEE site. So if you're not a member, please go ahead and join. And currently, we have almost 10% of Bangalore section are site members, but ultimately end of this year we want all the members, even non-IEEE members, can also become site and contribute towards this community. So last year we started with Sambram Institute of Technology, NMAMIT, Danand Sagar, BITM, and UVCE were the colleges who started site community, and seed money of $250 are each given for each student branch here who are got the approval. And we have given 6 different projects from last year for as funding. And Net Health track in ComsNet is also one of the amazing track which goes on, which is related to humanitarian technology. It happens every year, every year in January in Bangalore. So if you are interested next year, you can go ahead and attend. And the next one is we have uh, this were the few of the photos of different colleges inaugurations. This were the projects which are present in our flagship conference Connect. Some of the list of projects which was already approved, and they have been all funded, and the fund transfer is in the process. Because of pandemic, we have delayed. But we were also selected as one of the top 8 student branch and as well as site groups, where we showed our some of small initiatives like portable scavenger machine, which we prototyped and submitted to the education subcommittee for a pilot project. So what is that? Our philosophy is feet on the ground, which means that you go and talk to the people, local challenges, and create a positive social impact. So we go and talk to people all over our community, around our community. I'll give you a lot of examples so that you get to know what exactly site is looking at. So if you are a volunteer, if you are 6 of them, it's just that 6 of you have to become site member and sign a petition, which is online, and it's very easy. It can be 6 group of students combination with faculty, or it can be some random people in the. It can be different, maybe one software engineer, one academician, a student, and then one more engineer, and one more social worker and NGO. All of you can come together and sign a petition and start a site group. So that's how easy it is. But you have to answer some simple 4 to 5 questions. Once you finish off the and while you finish the petition, you have to answer these questions. What is which community you are planning to engage? Is it the urban slums, or is it some villagers? Is it some farmers? Is it some fishermen? So these are different local communities, and who is the one majorly involved with you? It's not that you individually go and talk to committee, but also you should have one NGO along with you, so that your project really gets implemented on field. So once it is up, it goes to the steering committee and they approve it, and seed money they send to the section. So some of the amazing initiatives what we have done in site is we have started with what we are celebrating today is IEEE Site Day, and there is amazing courses available for you guys. So Okay, so there are few projects which is done. There are few courses which is developed for this. Courses are really amazing. I request all of you to take these courses. They have 5 different modules on different topics, very nicely and very interactively designed website for the courses, and it's completely free. You need not pay anything. So they have designed 5 modules. I was also initial reviewer for this, evaluating this module before it was launched. The beta version, I was one of the user, and these were 5 different projects. So first unit is about introduction to sustainable development, how you can do sustainable development. I've also picked some of the concepts from these weeks of web and weeks of the courses. And then the other one is multidisciplinary perspectives in humanitarian sustainable development activities and community engagement in sustainable development projects, and humanitarian technology for sustainable development, and finally sustainable project design and project management. So all of them have amazing resources. There are a lot of links where you can do it, a lot of toolkits which can help you how to do community projects. And now that AICTE in have mandated that each student should have 100 community 100 points, activity points, by serving the community. So these are few of the things where you can learn how you can encash the available community and also site and serve the community around you. So if you are interested, you can, the last date is over, but still we have got 700 plus papers, and we have a special track which is known as biomedical, engineering for humanities. We have got very good number of papers and very extensive papers. We have got papers on COVID-19 as well, and soon we'll be releasing the results. But this is one of the amazing conference which you have to attend. If things settle down, it's in July. So if you are interested, just go to the website and check. Another one, this is one more initiative. It's called IEEE Bangalore Humanitarian Technology Conference. It's happening in Vijayapur, which is one of the inner area of Karnataka. We don't want to do in fancy hotel, but we want to do the actual, this is called as feet in ground, going to actual college where they require, or the surrounding community. And the call for papers are out just recently, couple of days back. So please go ahead and apply. We have different themes. This has been derived from sustainable development goals defined by United Nations. So this is one of the amazing conference which all of you should look at. Apply your projects. You have done some community service over this time of pandemic through virtually or through some or the other technology. This is the place where you have to apply. This is also one of the event where we want to try and test it, so that we host the next year bigger event which is known as IEEE Bangalore section will be hosting the Region 10 Humanitarian Technology Conference 2021. The 2020, that is this year's, it is happening in Malaysia. Last year it was in Indonesia or something. And then before it was in different parts of Region 10. So Asia Pacific it travels. First time it has come to IEEE Bangalore section. We'll be hosting in bigger way, but this will be in Bangalore so that international travelers can be accommodated. This will be around somewhere in 2021. Second half. So you guys might be thinking, what does Site gives you? So Site is a platform where you get a lot of money to do community service or to go feet on the ground, basically. So one of the Site project calls which you should be looking at is 18th May is the deadline. Go ahead and apply. HAC gives you up to almost $60,000, which is like huge money for you to go and do it. But you should partner with the local government or NGOs to actually understand the challenges by these underserved communities. And also you should have already done some side project, so that it will help you some smaller, that $250 you should have used, and you should have done it. Then you get this $20,000. This is IEEE Foundation grant, for which is till 3rd July. The cycle is ending in another couple of months, and it ranges from $5,000 to $100,000, almost like 60, 70 lakhs. If you take today's dollars rate, it will be 70 lakhs. HAC committee, this is the one which gives $60,000. So this is also one of the good option. I'll give you a lot of examples so that you understand what kind of projects you'll be funded. Because of COVID-19, there is a new initiative for COVID-19. It's a rolling submission. So you submit it today, they'll review it very fast and release the fund if it's selected. And it happens till 15th May. So anybody, if you are interested, please submit this project for COVID-19. So how is the procedure you'll adapt? So first thing is start the site group. You'll get $250. After that, apply for site. So you would have done some project using $250. Put a bigger version or bigger net so that you can serve the larger community. That's using IEEE site. And next one is apply for IEEE HAC and then foundation. So this is how the steps is easier way of climbing so that you cater to large number of people. So each time when you cater, you'll get some different kinds of money and higher money as and when you climb. So I'll give you some of the examples of what sustainable community project is. So it's continually adjusting to meet the social and economic needs of its residents. So for example, if you have some residents around, say you are in a farming, you are in village where you have some people who are doing farming. You are in Mangalore, there is a fishing area where you want to help them, and you want to preserve the environment ability to support it. So main thing is it's to make it more sustainable. It should automatically, once you start the project or once you implement the project, it should automatically go on continuing it irrespective of your presence is there or not, which means that you should train the local volunteers there or local, the same community whom you are helping, you should train them themselves to actually continue the good work what you are trying to do. And one more important thing is you should be able to give adequate resources which are available for future generation. So unfortunately, if you see a lot of things we are consuming, there is dearth of water in many places, there's dearth of something else in many places. The natural resources are exhausting. So COVID has brought down that little bit in terms of, environment and other things. But one thing, whenever you do something, see something sustainable so that even tomorrow, if somebody is trying to replicate your model, it should be of sustainable model. So even after 100 years, it should run more effectively and it should keep on improving itself. How do you actually identify a project is very important. First is, uh, these are some of the tips which I have framed from various resources. You should start with what you know rather than understanding what you doesn't know. So you know that there is a community who is having some problem. What problem? That we'll see later. But first and first, understand what's the problem around this community. For example, in next door, there may be a fisherman. So fishermen are there, they are little not really in the game of a lot of making money and other things. They're not really served with amazing technologies what we are trying to use. Or there is a farmer who doesn't know the technology. So that's the first thing you should do, and then identify the gaps. So you should go and talk to them and identify the gaps, then write down everything, gather information. Then after 100 problems you have seen with them or 10 problems you have seen what they're trying to face, then you come up with only one or two problems or three problems. In that, you, with the available resources, which is that you can achieve, is what you should be doing. And then finally assess what are the project priorities. How will you assess this? You will see that, okay, this is project priority for this is very important because the resources are important. If we don't implement this project within 1 year, things will go wrong and things like that. Main importantly, you should talk to local community. Without local community, site or HAC, they'll not give you money. It can be an NGO, or it can be some local government agencies, municipalities, or some BBMP in Bangalore, or anyone of that kind. So talk to them, talk to stakeholders. Who are stakeholders? The ultimate users, or it can be anyone in the loop where you're trying to implement. It can be payers, that is somebody who pays, or end users. So there is huge difference between payers and end users. For example, you go with your parents, you have gone with your parents when you were in your childhood of 5 years, then you see a toy, then you feel that, yes, this is a toy, I need it. You start, crying, saying, I need that toy. So who is end user here? End user is the child, whereas who is the payer? Payer is nothing but the parent. So there is a huge difference. It's not necessary everybody, all the end users pay. In few cases, it may be same, but few cases it may be different. So some of the examples, this is exhaustive list, but this is not really for, underprivileged or underserved people. So this is a generic list which is for sustainable project. But I'll give you some of the list in next few slides, which will tell you what are the important things which you can work on. Some of the humanitarian technology domains which people can work on is non-polluting lighting, heating, and cooking methods. So if you have some cooking method where I was involved in one of the project known as Health in Slums. So main project there was we went to urban slums and then tried to see what is that they're trying to do. And cooking was so disastrous that they used to stay in the hut or very small place, and they used to cook using this firewood, which was really the taste may be good, but problem is they are exhausting the carbon monoxide, which is and carbon dioxide, which is really dangerous. Over the years they'll become even more they'll have lot of lung related and breathing related problems. Technologies for clean water and sanitization. If you have some technology, say for slum or someone, and they're not having access to clean water, they don't have access to sanitization, then this is the time where you can go and help them. Give them some filter kind of thing which you have developed the technology. Give them some sanitization, for themselves to keep themselves clean, especially during this pandemic situation. There are many of them. I mean, you are very privileged that you have almost power 24/7 at your home, but not everybody is privileged. You are able to hear this webinar, but not everybody is privileged. Only few of them are privileged, even in India and many of the other countries as well. So for them, if you can get some electricity generation using solar, or to run a bicycle, electric bike, you can have some solar attachment. Another, people whom definitely we should care about is our farmers who are trying to do work day and night and trying to help us out. So these people use agriculture technologies. We can give some technologies which we have developed. Next, obviously, is healthcare. At this point of time, healthcare is on the peak. The investments are on peak. The GDP of the entire nation all over world is pumped towards the healthcare. So maybe it can be automatic detection or rehabilitation once a person, is sick, or he's met with an accident or anything and they don't have much money. How can they rehabilitate themselves? Or it can be even a screening method for, so we developed one of the screening method. We made a kit for urban slums. We went and screened a lot of four different urban slums, and then we did a lot of screening and gathered data and gave it to government. So these are few of the things which you can try to do it. Now let me go into few of the specifics which is already done, well done, and already funded by site. So one thing you remember, I'm telling this time and again, site will, or site or HAC, both the committees will not give you money for research or project. They'll give you money to go and deploy it. They'll give the money. You already have a technology, then to go and deploy it in the field is what they'll give you money. To replicate what your technology is, they'll give you money. They won't give you to find the solution. You already have a problem, you have to find the solution. That solution you have to fit into the community, somebody who really needs it, then only money will be given. So keep this in mind. Don't write research projects to site. They'll not approve it. You write some, already you have existing technology, now you want to scale it up and give it to the community for free or help them to make it sustainable. That was one condition. Second condition is, whenever you give the money, what they will look at is, whenever the site or HSC committee gives us, they'll look at, is it sustainable or not? What is sustainability? You do it, after 1 year the entire project vanishes. No, that's not the IEEE site or HS is looking. They are looking for something which goes beyond many years. So two things you remember: one is it should be a technology ready which is deployed to be deployed in the field. They'll help give you money for deployment. Second thing is it should be sustainable, which means that it can go around for longer time. So I'll give you some of the examples I've specifically taken from few countries, where which are very much similar to our country, India, so that you can go ahead and implement. This was one of the projects from Bangladesh, where Karg site, what is it is, this community, what they did was, they have this kind of, you can see few of them at the back. So they made the regular cycle rickshaw into something with solar energy or national grid, independent of national grid. So they put one solar panel on the top, and people are trying to, you know, bike the rickshaw so that it gets wherever there is sunlight, it is easier for them to acquire the energy and store, use that for something else, or to ride the rickshaw itself. So this was one of the projects sponsored by site. Next is bridges. So what they did was they enabled access to electricity and appropriate technologies for underserved communities. How many? 20 underserved communities in one of the North Atlantic area. So here they took the electricity. They didn't have access to electricity. They were just still using solar lantern and other things. So they tried to use some kind of grid technology to use this. This is also one of the project which is really appreciated. So coming to one of the project in India, this was in Madras, which is very similar to Mangalore, where they have places, beach and sea and other things for fishing. So one problem what they were facing was that you can see one top here, they have this solar panel where the lighting was there, and especially if there is a harm to the deep sea, where fishers who just dive in and try to do some fishing and try to acquire something, for all those people they try to give some light during the night or something like that. So this was from Madras section. One more problem you have seen, you have heard also, if you have gone to village or spent some time with villagers, they say one of the big problem they have is attack of animals and spoiling their crops. So what they did was, remember, we are not supposed to kill the animals. That's not okay. You can't shoot it. Many of them also have guns to shoot it, but they shoot in the air. They don't kill it. But still, there were wild boars which were coming and destroying their crops in Sitarampuram village in Andhra Pradesh. So what these people did was, the community, IEEE community or volunteers around, they went and they made a laser system which even works in the night, which automatically detects the animals before they enter the field. As soon as they enter the field, it will come up with flashing of light and a large alarm of louder sound, and then so what used to happen was, as soon as they hear the sound, they used to run away. But second time, third time, fourth time, they became immune to that sound and flash of light. So they made different kinds of sound and different kinds of light pattern to scare them away. So first time the light was different pattern and sound was different. Then they changed the pattern every time, randomized it. And also in case there was something wrong, then they had GPS, I mean your GPS and GSM module installed, saying this part of your crop is getting destroyed. So go ahead, and they have alerted the farmers. This is one of the important problem which any of us can understand easily. Mosaic, which is moisture, salinity, and temperature kit to optimize usage of water in hilly areas. So, especially in hilly areas, it's not easier to find out where the salt is higher for farming, or temperature or moisture and things like that. So for this, what they made was, they came up with a monitoring device which will tell the farmer what is the requirement of water, what is the requirement of moisture, what kind of crops they can build, I mean they can do the agriculture, and so on and so forth. This is again in India. LoRaWAN, which is enabled remote solar photovoltaic energy monitoring system. So here they took the remote sensing working efficiency of solar setups through low cost energy sensors. So this is more for solar energy they were able to give, and they also installed in case there are multiple installations. So this they wanted to give it to the government, the data. So what they did was they took the GIS mapping and tried to map it all over, so that it was easier for government to look at what to take and what to not. Next is OPSAP India. This is Overhead Power Line Safety Awareness Project. This was done by Hyderabad section, IEEE Hyderabad section, an effort to reduce the number of overhead power line contacts, injuries, and fatalities. So, especially, I have lived in Hyderabad, so even at my house, at the top, there was overhead power line. So, if I was the height which I was now when I was kid, then I could have easily touched the high tension wire which is running on my home. So that was really disaster, and it could have made a lot of them injured. So what they came up with, they came up with awareness project for people, making them aware about what they have to do. Rehabilitation of sustainable future of delta farms. So this is again teaching them technology. So if you see the farmers, they know, but what they do, there is a always, you have seen, producer consumer problem. At a time there'll be like huge influx of tomatoes, and tomato prices will go drastically down 1 rupee per kg or something. Or there is dearth of onions, then the onion price will go like 100 rupees per kg. So this kind of thing, what they solved is they gave them some, people who have lost their crops, or people who have some kind of problem. Then they said, instead of doing this crop, do this crop. This is very feasible for you, because this soil and the water type you're getting, and this soil, this crop will come and you can make money. This kind of, and they also taught them how to do that even in case of next year and next to next year. So it's became sustainable. So smart classroom among the woods. So one of the forest area where this, tribes people are around in that place. So they help this tribes people to, study. So they took the education and training. They trained the teachers, as well as they took clearance from forest department for installation of solar panel. They used the solar connection when they were at the classroom, and they were trying to make the classroom smarter, so that they can use the proper electricity during the teaching time. And they installed some computers and so on and so forth. Another thing they could have done is they could have even extended that power. In case the power is remaining beyond the school, they could have given to some few houses around the school. So this can also be done. So last couple of things I wanted to share was smart switching toilet with urine diversion system for flood region. So there was huge flood long back, like 3-4 years back, at that particular area. So people came up saying, toilets, one thing which is toilet which has proper sewage system, that's good. But even the bio toilets, or the toilets, which are outside in villages, where villages have come up with a toilet at the, periphery of their village. But these kind problem is, the mechanism of toilet construction is same, only the sewage system have to be changed. So they propose some model so that human waste and the sewage system is better, and it is connecting to the regular sewage system rather than just in the open field. So this is also one of the project which was funded. Solar powered electric wheelchair. So wheelchair for people who are paraplegics, who can't do anything. So they developed an electric wheelchair with the battery attached to it, so that it goes around. There is no need of grid or anything. You can just put the battery and make it run. And also, next thing they wanted to do was low speed wheelchair to cover larger distance. Rather than going within the house, they wanted to cover going for a kilometer or a couple of kilometers from initial stage to the end. So this is one of my favorite project, which was electrifying of remote village. First thing, as a first step, what the volunteers did was they talked to the community and electrified the entire remote village. After electrifying, they didn't leave it. They told the people, the villagers, that how they can use the solar power as well as the electrification power, that is from the power supply what they are trying to get. uh, they can reduce their electricity consumption by using solar plus, it's more of a hybrid model what we have for cars. So say for example, you have a car which will take the battery, as well as it will also take the your gas hybrid model. So it will take. So similarly here there are solar as well as they have this electrification. So both of them combined, whenever there is a solar availability, use that. If not, switch to that. They taught them how they can reduce their electricity, so that the electrification what they have done is necessary for the entire, is sufficient for the entire village. So these were few of the projects. This was just to give an idea that it is sustainable. So to summarize, what I would like to say is, first thing is, remember that site is a group of volunteers. Even a non-IEEE member can become site member. And second thing I want to say is, if you want to apply for funding, second thing is, you can become site, you can form your own site group. Bunch of people, random people can form one site group by signing a petition. Next you will get $250, and then 20,000, then 60,000, and then so on. So different levels of funding for different level of work. Third thing I wanted to tell you is that site or HAC or any of these committees will give you money only if you have solid project where you have partnered with local government to identify and have solved it. So if you don't have local partner, they'll not give you money. If you don't have local partner, can be government, non-government, non-government, NGOs or anyone. And most importantly, your project will get the funding if your project is solving the local community problem. It's not the global problem. And next thing to add on to that is, you should have sustainability in your solution. It's not that you do it for first year, later you will forget it. And the next thing I want to tell is, you should have already developed the project. You should have some prototype or some kind of solution ready. The ready-made solution you're taking and implementing it. For taking and implementing is what IEEE site and HSC will give you money, not for research projects. So having said this, so I told you these are the two conferences which you have to do. And before we go, this one is also amazing project, that is lighting up the link shed. So in the remote place in Himalayas, the community worked, and there is a nice article. You can just Google this, lighting the link shed. So it's internet and electricity was provided to them. So this were very few projects which I've told you, but there are amazing projects available in many of the good website. One of the website is Community Toolkit. Community Toolkit is uh, to identify or execute your project or project management. You can use that. So second thing is Engineering for Change, has lot of such solutions. You can see on the screen, there is something for Solar Street, there is something for cooking, there is something for green cooking, and for lighting, fertilization, agriculture, and so on and so forth. These are some of the projects which is already well developed, vetted by experts. You can just look at it, how they have tried to solve it, and can you also replicate it, or can you also do it for your local community. So it's called Engineering for Change. Just engineeringforchange.org, you'll get amazing collections. So with this, I would like to conclude this examples of projects which I've told you. So if we have any questions, I guess we can take it at the end of, this is the time where we can answer some of the questions if you guys have.
Yes, sir, sure, sir. Sir, we've a question, which is how do we utilize the seed money as it's very small in amount to deploy a project? They want your advice, sir.
Yeah, so that's a good question. So only thing I would say is, instead of $250, of course it's less, but what you can use that is for to develop your small prototype which you want to apply for your higher funding. Say $20,000 is next stage. You do something like a small project which will not cost. It's like a prototype or something. Then go and apply in the field. Apply in the sense, go and talk to people in the field. So if it is local farmers or fishermen, just go and talk to them saying, this is a solution I built, can you try to use it? It can be a simple app, or it can be awareness app, or it can be something like instead of electrifying a complete village, you're just doing one home. For that, I guess your $250 is sufficient. So this is how you can do use your seed money what site gives. And one more question which I see here is that if I get how many site groups can a college have? It can have any number of site groups. Same people can also form, it can be different people, but each side group is formed based on what problem you're trying to solve. It's not based on your college. Like IEEE student branch can be only one, but under each IEEE student branch or random people can form multiple number of sites, and each time it should be different projects. Not, it can't be, it may not be different college, but each time one it can be farmer, one it can be fisherman, one it can be villagers, one it can be for some people who doesn't have internet, who doesn't have electricity, so on and so forth. So any other questions?
Sir, we have another question from Gokula Priya. She asks, what's the procedure for an institute to get into a site membership, and if there is any deadline for site group registrations?
Okay, so there is no deadline for site. It's a rolling application. You can apply anytime you want. First thing I would suggest, go and identify a local community you want to work with. It can be some NGO, it can be some farmers, it can be villagers. Just talk to them over phone or something at this point of time. Then you devise what's the problem you're trying to solve and apply it. And procedure is very simple. So each institute, you have to just go to this website which is shown on the screen, site.ieee.org, and then go for start IEEE site group. You should be able to get the procedure. They have very simple questions to answer. I showed in my previous slide. I'll show it again. Where is it? Yeah. So these are some of the questions which you should be answering. What is your kind of understanding with the community you wish to work? How can you address their needs? How do you plan to engage the local community? What else you work to build the capacity of your group, and what efforts you have done? So once you answer all these things and submit the form online, then the committee will look into and get back to you within like 3-4 weeks, and then your site group is started. If they have some questions, or if they have some uh, some, for example, concerns in your application, then they'll revert back. You have to change those answers or improvise the answers and send it back.
Sir, this is Gokula again. So to get into the site institute membership also, we need to have a problem or the product informations with us. With that note only, we could register into that, right?
Yeah, so there is another. I would like to clarify that there is it's called university site group, which means that it should be a school like yours. It's an engineering college, or it's a science college or something. There is also another site group which I'm not shown in the slides. It's called a normal site group. Like IEEE Bangalore section site group is not a site group of what university is doing. It's a different site group, but still we can have any number of volunteers in that. So to answer your question, you have to just apply it. It's not necessary you should have product ready, but you should have identified what's the problem, and you should have answered these questions correctly, what is there on the slide. So you should have identified the problem. Meanwhile, once you identify the problem, you could have also started building some solution. Okay, I hope that answers the question. So there is no deadline, and so somebody says, I'm faculty advisor of EMBS and site member, but we don't have a site group. Can I apply for HAC fund? So that's a good question. So site funding is only for people who have site groups, preferably. HAC fund is open for everyone to apply, but I would suggest go step by step. If you directly apply for HAC, you may get rejected because you don't have any proof of, you have done the work properly. So it's better you start a site group first in first, which takes like a month or so. Right now you can sign the petition if you have some problem which you think you can solve the problem. Second thing is you can then apply for site funding, take $20,000, try to solve the local problem using that money, and then go for HAC. That's the procedure which is usually appreciated. Even site committee also tells the same thing. So all members in the site group should be IEEE members. So this is a good question what Prithvi has asked. Yeah, site members, it's not necessary all members should be IEEE members, but at least few of them. Say in 6 members, I would suggest 2-3 of you should be IEEE members because they are given the privilege. Because it's IEEE money, they give it to IEEE members. But few of them, like you can't tell the NGO who is attached to you to become IEEE member. So they can become site member, which is free. You need not pay anything. So if you are already IEEE member, which is good, so you collaborate with 2-3 people, NGOs, local government people or local government representative, make them site member and then sign a petition. Or if not also, you can involve them in your this one, in your project. So one of the faculty is asking Prarthana that can site group contain a faculty too? Yes, actually speaking, the site group which you form in the university, they suggest, it's a suggestive, but it's also, I would say it's a mandate thing, that you should have a site chair as your faculty rather than a student. Why is this? Because remember the word sustainability I was using time and again. You do some kind of sustainability model if a faculty is there. If a student is there after 2 years or after 1 year, he would have left the college, he would have gone to his job or higher studies. But to continue the project, a site group is usually chaired by university site. For university site group is chaired by a faculty. For example, for all the site groups what we have, even UVC, we have Dr. Triveni who is chairing the site group. So it's usually the chairs will be the faculty. So all faculty can become member of site. Is it IEEE student branch compulsory opening site? Yeah, I would say yes. So if you want university site group, it's preferred to have a IEEE site student chapter because you will have an account and also you'll have transaction easy, money flowing. If not, if you don't have, then you have to apply for other kind of a site group, that is normal site group where random people come together or your college people come together and form a site group. Can any branch get registered to IEEE membership? I am not sure what this Professor GJ Naveen has asked. So can any branch get registered to IEEE membership? So it's IEEE membership is not for an institute, it's for individual. So for example, UVC has 100 IEEE members. So they have formed a student branch, which is running successfully. BMSC, where I work, we have a student branch, we have 600 members or 300 members, and all of us together come under IEEE student branch. So each individual will have IEEE membership. It's not a college which will have. College will have student branch. Is it confined to only electronics and electrical branches? No, any random branch, even if you're from science college or anyone, you can still go ahead and do the electronics. I mean, you can still go ahead and become site member, IEEE member. We have a lot of resources for all of them because initially it was started by electrical and electronics engineers. So the name is still persists. But now if you see, we have all background. You name any branch, you have people working in IEEE or volunteering for IEEE. Can any single site group can handle a single project or any number of projects, any constraint? So usually it is suggested each site group handle only one project. So once the project is over, you notify that we are done with the project. We have solved the problem what we had proposed. Now it's a time we should solve another problem. You sign a new petition for the new site group. I'm a mechanical background. Yes, I remember last year in BMS college, we had someone from mechanical engineer who is a student branch here. So anyone from the college, any branch, you can become IEEE member and site member. A project which is already implemented somewhere by someone, can it be again be a solution to a new locality for the same problem? Will it be kind of plagiarism? I would say no, it is plagiarism, but while you are writing, you give them as reference saying, hey, listen, these people have already done it. So we want to replicate that and we are ready with the solution, almost similar solution we want to implement for our own, our own community, which is good. So next one, wind energy through kite. I don't know what the question was. Sir, you told that IEEE membership is free. Is it applicable to faculty too? Please remember, I told IEEE site membership is free for anyone, faculty, student, non-IEEE member. IEEE membership, right now we have 50% discount, which means that you pay only half of the money and you can enjoy the benefit, whatever the benefits of being member till end of 2020. So IEEE membership is annual fee, but IEEE site is a community which is free for even non-members because we want to reach maximum people and solve this problem. May I know how many years we need to work on site project for sustainability? Is there any year limitation? Yeah, this is a good question from Kalpavi. So what does, it's not necessary that we have a time frame, but actually speaking, forget about site, sustainability is something you should bring up in your model such that the next generation of people can also enjoy that benefit. That's the definition of sustainability. But what site looks at is, even if you build it for at least few more years, that few can be subjective depending on your project. But I would suggest have a ballpark of at least 4 to 5 years. You implement today, for this year, next 3 to 4 years, it should be running. That's what I would say you should be looking at. So do we have any other questions? Smriti, Sneha, any other questions? Or
A few have raised their hands. We've unmuted them. If they can address their questions, it will be great.
Yeah, sure. How to unmute? You will do it for me?
I've unmuted, sir. Like I've sent the request to unmute. They have to unmute and ask you the question.
Yeah. So who want to talk first? Jancy want to, okay. Margaret Mary wants to ask question. Okay, fine. I guess we have answered most of them. And last thing I would say is, again, happy IEEE Site Day 2020. Thanks a lot for coming.